I think it was a combination of factors. I think, to be fair to Rick Santorum, he had made fantastic progress in this campaign. He was the least known of the challengers for the Republican nomination, and having made a very good start in Iowa in January, his campaign picked up considerably, in contrast to that of Mr. Gingrich and Dr. Ron Paul. So he's achieved a lot, but I think the reason basically he pulled out was that he was in real danger of losing in Pennsylvania, a key state. The turning point for Rick Santorum was the fact that he didn't win in Michigan, Mr. Romney's home state, and he didn't win in Ohio. According to political pundits, these are known as sort of Rust Belt states where any successful candidate for the nomination has to win. He didn't prevail there. He didn't give up, however. But I think there was another factor here that began to enter Mr. Santorum's long-term political ambitions. If he continued, he probably wouldn't win the nomination because Mr. Romney's campaign is very well funded, and there is a tenaciousness about Romney and a determination that means that he's always been planning for the long haul, and he continues to pile up delegates. So the gap in delegates probably can't be overcome, and I think he's at the risk of becoming a political spoiler if he continues.
He's thrown in the towel now. He did win 11 states, though. You would like to think the guy who's eventually going to take on Obama for the Republicans would be a bit more emphatic a winner than what we now have.
Yes. Well, you're quite right. Rick Santorum pinpointed the fact that Mr. Romney, the response amongst the social conservatives in the Republican Party is lukewarm regarding support for Romney. Ironically, Mr. Romney has the best chance amongst, if you like, independent voters in the United States of overcoming Mr. Obama. There is a tension between the appeal within the Republican Party to win the nomination and the sort of wider national appeal that you need to win the White House. Where we'll see now, Mr. Romney is effectively, I think, become the major contender, or in fact effectively got the nomination, although we understand that Mr. Gingrich and Dr. Paul are continuing. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out. I personally think that Mr. Romney's all but got it now, and he'll obviously want to concentrate his fire against Mr. Obama.
Assuming this is going to be the case, and it does certainly look like that is pretty much how it's going to pan out, a lot of people are saying that Mitt Romney is going to have to kind of reposition himself. He's alienated a lot of the sort of more right-thinking side of Republicans and Republican voters. So can we expect quite a different look, a different feel, different rhetoric from Mitt Romney when he does go up against Barack Obama?
Well, to be fair, I think Mr. Romney's been pretty flexible so far. He's conscious that he's seen as the moderate from Massachusetts, and he keeps stressing his conservative credentials. And I think he will try, with Santorum stepping down, I think he will try to present himself as the one person in the Republican ranks who can beat Obama, and try to hope that the social conservatives accept that that is consolation enough in the campaign against Mr. Obama. I mean, one thing that does unite the Republican Party is a dislike of Mr. Obama's leadership. And so I suppose he will try and capitalise on that in the months ahead now to when the election is held in November.
Now we've got the situation which we always have with the American political system, where everyone's bagging everyone until you get a winner, then they all have to look like they're on the same team, of course. Given how ruthless some of this campaign was and how personal it got, how well are the Republicans going to be able to now put on that united face and try and get to the White House?
I think they face real problems. I think that it would have been much better if Mr. Romney could have established his ascendancy early in the Republican primary process, which would have freed him up to take on Obama and establish his credentials in relation to Obama. I think Mr. Obama is very pleased by the way things have worked out. Mr. Santorum has said that he's not given up fighting for the values he represents, which may be a sort of warning shot across Mr. Romney's bows, so to speak. But, there's no doubt about it that this has been a messy process for determining who should win the nomination for the Republican Party. And it's not over yet. I think the biggest beneficiary from this process is Mr. Obama. Interesting that Mr. Obama has, in recent days, targeted Mr. Romney and contrast. He presented himself as a sort of contrasting approach. He stands unashamedly for what he calls the Warren Buffett approach to taxation. That is, that rich people should pay more. And he's actually singled out for Mr. Romney for not paying his fair share. This is a comment, of course, or a reference to the fact that although Mr. Romney earned something like $20 million in investments in the last year or so, he's paid about 13-14% in taxation on that. And, you know, in a sense, he's presenting, Mr. Obama, I think he's trying to seize the initiative in presenting contrasting visions on this key issue.